Hi. So here I am, stuck at home, like everybody else in well, a lot of Europe, but certainly in Spain, and here in Mallorca, we're on voluntary, well, not voluntary, enforced quarantine at the moment. I can't remember what they're calling it, but yeah, it's pretty strange. It's pretty different. You don't realise how much you value your freedom until it disappears. How much you appreciate just going out for that one daily walk until you're not able to. And it's not like I really actually spent much time outdoors anyway before this. I've kind of been a bit of a homebod for the last year due to personal reasons. And so I spent most of my days, in our apartment, just resting and being peaceful and taking care of my dog who's been really sick. And just going out once a day for a gentle swim at the spa that I go to, or a gentle workout at the gym, or a walk along the beachfront, and just like crunching through the sand and standing and looking at the sea, and the smell of the air and the feeling of just being so grounded and connected. And I get energized when I go near the sea, and it makes me feel alive again, and I always come home feeling so much more healthy. And that had become really important to me, is like going out once a day and having a connection to the world, and just remembering my reason for wanting to be alive and for living. And yeah, it's really strange and it was also really important with our dog to take her out once a day for a walk in different places to keep her connected to life, because she's been through quite a lot of health struggles. And it really helped her just to be excited by new places and everything. And now it's like, well, theoretically we're allowed to take our dog out for a walk for 5 minutes once a day, separately, not together, separately, just one at a time. But you're only allowed to go right outside where you live. You're not allowed to go anywhere else. So that would be, for us, one of us taking her out for 5 minutes in the city, and it doesn't really feel clean or safe, to be perfectly honest. And we never really liked to take her for a walk in the city before, because she's immunocompromised, and now it just seems like a really daft idea. So yeah, and then not being able to go out together is a challenge, because I wouldn't feel safe out there on my own right now. It's very different. I remember on the first day of the lockdown, which was because we've been locked down since like Friday afternoon. It all just suddenly happened. Like 1 minute I'm at the hairdresser's having my hair cut and thinking everything's normal, and that the corona's out there but not really a big problem for us where we are. And I thought it was all quite contained in Mallorca, and that there had only been like a very few cases. But I don't follow the news because I find it so heavy, and it upsets me to see so much pain out there in the world, and to feel so helpless to do anything about it. And so yeah, so it either makes me really sad and really upset, and full of grief, or it makes me really angry and wrathful, and like I just want to shake the people that are messing things up. So it's much better if I just stay away from it. So I get little snippets here and there from my partner, and sometimes he gives me too much, but most of the time he actually doesn't tell me anything at all. So things happen and I don't even know they've happened. So if you told me about the events for the last 10 years, because I stopped watching the news 10 years ago after the terror attacks in London, which was it's probably about 12 or 13 years ago now, actually. It was just, everything just got too big and scary and crazy for me. And I was suffering from really bad anxiety, and like I couldn't leave my flat for several weeks, and even after that I couldn't use public transport for a year. So I decided, right, no more news, because it's really not helpful and you're too sensitive, and the best way for you to survive and have a happy life and be a useful person to other people is to stay at peace in your soul. And at peace in my soul means not following things like that. So Corona came as a bit of a surprise for me, because 1 minute I thought everything was okay, and I admit I was living in blissful ignorance. And the next minute, it was like, whoa, crazy madness. Half the shops were shut. Friday afternoon, it was like, I went into the hairdresser and I was like, like half the shops are shut that would normally be open on a Friday. I mean, it's a Friday. And then I kind of picked up a feeling of unsettlement in the hairdresser, but because of the language issues, most of it went straight over my head. And then I came out onto the street and I was like, something just isn't right, and I felt it in my soul. And I met up with my partner, and we were meant to be going for a walk, to take our dog for a walk around the town. And I said to him, I really think something's coming, something bad's coming. I think we're going into lockdown or something, because everything's shut and it shouldn't be. And so we went back home, and I kind of like connected with a few friends to find out what was going on, because I was like, okay, people with children, you're going to know what's going on because you always hear first. And so my friends with children did not fail me, and they told me what was happening. And so so my partner went out to the shops to get some food for us, because we weren't prepared. We didn't see this coming. Nobody really warned us, or like I didn't hear a single thing. It was a complete and utter surprise to me that this was coming. I didn't think it was. So then there was a mass panic buy, with nothing in the supermarket, and everyone just full of terror, and the energy here where I live, the feeling of outside is just, it's so different, and it's so heavy, and there's so much fear and so much panic and so much grief. And a sensitive person, like I'm an empath, and so like if I walk into a room, if I walk into a shop or a cafe, and the person working in there or the person sitting next to me is in a bad mood, or is really sad, or has a really strong emotion, it's like boom, it overtakes me. And like anxiety as well, like people who are anxious or nervous, it's like electric shocks through my body. And it's really difficult for me to stay protected. I'm constantly forgetting to have strong boundaries, because all I want is to be connected to people, and to be feeling love with one another. And so I tend to walk around like wide open, like a child, like hey, let's be friends. And it's just not the way to be. And at the moment, it's just not the way to be. And so I had a bit of a difficult time at first, actually. The first couple of days I was just completely and utterly terrified. I will not lie to you. I went into complete fear. It triggered all of my shadow issues, every single vulnerability I had within my soul, every single piece of shadow that I haven't dealt with yet was triggered, and it all came flying out, and I just felt like my brain was going to explode, and I was going to go crazy with it all. And I was just weeping uncontrollably, and half of it was panic and paranoia, and the other part was like this grief, this intense sadness that I just didn't know where it came from. It's like I thought I'd like hide all my tears and everything. I've been going through challenges recently in my life, with many things have come up. Like this year has just been like chaos for me, in terms of everything coming up and everything having to be reevaluated, and the potential loss of all the things that you care about most in your life. And then this on top was like, whoa, wave of overwhelm. But I think I'm out of that now. I think I'm more able to get my head around it and process it, because it was really hard to grasp at the beginning, really hard to process. Because it was such a drastic shift for me, and I just didn't see it coming. I'll be honest, I had my therapy session on Monday with my amazing practitioner, and we did some quantum healing work, and shifted some things, and I feel different since then. I feel stronger, and I feel more at peace with the situation, more in acceptance of it, and less needing to control, because like I have control issues. I felt powerless for most of my life, for various reasons, and so that the independence of being able to choose whether I go out or stay in, whether I can eat this or eat that, drink this, drink that, buy this, buy that, is really important to me. And I've never really realised that quite so deeply before. Right now, it's just ricocheting through my whole body as like, someone could take my power away within 2 seconds, and I have no power, no power. Nothing I say or do can change that. Like we are helpless to the powers that be. And I'd never really considered that before. I guess I kind of knew it on an underlying level that, you know, we have this false illusion of freedom that we live under, and that has suited me well enough. But now suddenly to feel, I guess, a bit unsafe with the government anyway at the moment, after everything that's been happening in the last like kind of, you know, 5 years at least. To feel like you're now being controlled by that very government, and it's a bit of a scary one. And there are many things to think about there, in terms of the future and how it'll pan out. But I'm just trying to keep a rational head about the whole thing, and not go into fear and stay positive. And so one of the things that I decided to do, because lots of people are out there doing amazing things at the moment, and they're really inspiring me. And I've been wanting for so long to do some video stuff and put more out there into the world, but I've been shying away from it because I'm an introvert, and so being on camera is just so not my thing. In fact, I hate it. So it's like, here I am in my room, first video ever, apart from I've been experimenting with sending recorded messages to people for a couple of months now, which has become easier slowly, but it was really, really awkward to start off with. And I guess it's still awkward to an extent. It's not something that I find easy at all, and being on camera isn't something I find easy at all. But I'm being inspired and encouraged by the people out there who are speaking from their bedrooms too. I'm here in my bedroom, I'm on my bed, my dog is next to me. I did my hair this morning because I had to wash it today, but no makeup, no nothing. This is me. This is how I am always. Anyway, I'm kind of like a plain-faced person these days. Trying to keep it pure and healthy. So that I'm trying to just be okay with that, be accepting of whatever is, because there are so many people out there doing that, and they're an inspiration to me. So I wanted to just say hello and introduce myself and what I want to do, and also to show you. I picked a tarot card on. So often these things happen to me, where something happens and I don't realise it at the time, and then looking back I'm like, oh my god, the messages come through and I'm just not listening. I'm not conscious to them. And on Friday I said to my partner, hey, why don't we each pick a tarot card before we go for a walk? And we asked our question, and I picked a card and he picked a card, and I said, okay, so we'll look at it for the next half hour, and then when we meet to go for a walk, we will say what our card meant to us, and then we'll swap them over and we'll read them for each other. And I thought it would be like a nice group a bonding exercise for us, and something fun to do and a bit different. And then obviously we didn't get to read the cards because of everything that happened, so we went into kind of like stress shopping instead of like relaxed calm walking. And I pulled my card out, I knew what my card was, but I hadn't actually had time to really look at it that deeply, because I pulled it out at the time before my haircut, and I was like, yikes, not a friend of mine, this one. Put it in my handbag and ignored it and forgot about it. And then when I came out, didn't have time to get him to read it for me, which I was more interested in him reading it for me rather than me reading it for me. And then I kind of forgot about it, and maybe I purposely forgot about it. And then I dragged it out yesterday, and I was like, I really should look at that card again, because I wasn't really clear on it. And I pulled it out, and it was the Eight of Swords. She's not one of my favourite cards, I will admit, but one that comes up quite often in my life. Oh, the irony. So and I just thought I'd share that with you, because I can read it for myself or whatever, but I went to the book and I pulled out what the book said, just so that I wouldn't cloud it with my own bias. Because reading for other people is a lot easier than reading for myself. And I pulled it out, and beyond the obvious of the fact that, you know, it's a woman bound and hoodwinked with the swords of the card about her, the divinatory meaning, is one of bad news, crisis, censure, conflict, calamity, and also sickness. And that was what my future was bringing me at that time. That's what, you know, the kind of like what's overall happening in my world right now. What do I need to know about, basically, was what I asked. Like, what do I need to know about right now moving forwards? So it was a warning that, you know, this thing was real and this thing was coming, because I've been really blasé about it before and going, oh, everyone's being paranoid, everyone's stressing, it's nothing, it's just like the flu, you know, it's a different variant of the flu, we have the flu every year, we get it, we get sick, we're fine. And then it kind of turns out that, actually, no, Rebecca, you were really, really wrong there, and this is a bit worse than the flu, and it's a virus that we should take seriously and that we should be respectful of. And I'm very serious about it, and I'm very respectful about it now. You know, yep, I've seen that one, and I realised that, you know, it's better for a lot of people not to follow the news and not to be informed on what's going on in the world, but it does blindside us as well. Anyway, so this card was a kind of like a warning, really, or, you know, it was a mirror, a window into the world to say what was coming and to prepare for it, to warn me to prepare for it, and I failed to do that. And then, you know, I've been trying to prepare ever since in the ways that I can, but they're limited. And I'm trying to be okay with what I have the power to control and what I don't, what I can't do anything about. Like, I can't do anything about the fact that, you know, I don't have much vitamin C in my cupboard. And supplements are really important to me in my life. I have, like, immune conditions. And so, you know, keeping healthy is one of my priorities every day, and I put a lot of time and effort into it. And I have to accept the fact that, you know, I'm not going to be able to have the diet that I normally choose to have. I'm not going to be able to have my green juices every morning. I'm probably not going to be able to have my fresh lemon juice or orange juice and stuff like that. I'm not going to be able to eat a completely fresh, whole food, plant-based diet. It's going to have to be compromised. And I'm kind of okay with that, and I'm kind of not okay with that. Supplement-wise, I'm really struggling with that one, because I was in full-on spring cleaning mode before this happened. So I was like, right, I'm going to let all my cupboards empty out, and then I'm going to restock, because I tend to hoard things normally. In that respect, I'm like a squirrel when it comes to, like, anything to do with supplies. I like to have more of things. Like, I'll buy next winter's thermal vests a year in advance so that I know I've got them ready on time. I always like to have a backup plan. I like to have one ready to go in case, you know, something breaks. It's like, here's one I made earlier, apart from I bought it. And I don't really have that going on right now in many areas. So we have, like, things to last a certain amount of time, but not as long as I wanted, and I have, like, a massive shipment of supplements stuck where we collect our post from, and the chances of getting that right now are really slim, because the office will probably be shut, and I don't even think we're allowed to drive to get stuff. I think the military arrived here a few days ago, and I think it's like, no, we're allowed out to walk to the nearest supermarket, and that's it. You can't be fussy about it. But yeah, and, like, you know, in terms of our dog, her medications, you know, it's you know, that was the first thing I thought of when it was like Friday, go out for supplies. I was like, go to the pharmacy and get everything you can for Mia that will last us for like a month or two. And stuff that we might need if she gets this or that. So we've got a certain amount of supplies, but we don't have enough dog food, and she's on a special diet. We don't have enough of all of her medications, so that's going to entail, like, getting stuff from the vet, and every time like my partner has to go out to buy stuff, I have this fear. Like I don't want to go out myself and get it, because like I don't think that's very sensible. But I don't want him to go out either, because I'm scared that he'll get it, and that he'll then get sick, or that he'll bring it back and then I'll get sick. And so this whole like feeling trapped, feeling tied up and stabbed from every angle by this situation, and not knowing if this fear is real or not. It's like what do we believe? It's like the word quarantine is so scary, and has so many of us feeling so much fear. And yet, you know, like a couple of hours before this even started, we were quite happily walking around and interacting with one another, and to feel suddenly that, you know, that you have to be fearful of other people, it's just, it's so painful, really, really painful. But on a positive note, every day at 8 o'clock, all the people in the vicinity, they come out on their balconies, or they stick their head out the window, and we all clap, and we clap, and we clap for like a full-on minute at least, giving thanks to all the healthcare workers that are working so bravely and so hard, and putting themselves in danger every day, coming into contact with people that actually have this virus. So we thank them at 8 o'clock every day, and that is a really powerful moment. And the first time I did it, I was just overwhelmed by the feeling. It was like looking out the window and seeing all of your neighbours, and finding out for the first time that the world hadn't disappeared, and that everybody hadn't died, and there were people out there still, and looking and seeing all of these people and feeling connected to humanity again was like such a powerful thing. And then catching eye contact with like one or two and waving was just vroom, like this instant heart connection of like, I love you, I really love you, thank you for being there. And just befriending people that you'd never given, not like befriending, but feeling a deep connection to people that you'd never got eye contact with before, because we don't do that, because, you know, we don't know each other, so we shouldn't be like eyeballing our neighbours. And then I came inside again afterwards, and I was just overcome by this wave of grief. It just came rolling out of me. It was huge. It was really huge, and it just made me realise like how moved I am by this whole situation, how struck I am by it, and how I guess my mind is really trying to slowly absorb and integrate the whole thing, how big it is, how real it is, and how different it is from anything my generation has experienced. I mean, nothing like this has happened within my lifetime, in my memory anyway. You know, the terror attacks was scary, and yeah, it did change my world, and my world has been forever changed since. Like, I will always run away from an abandoned backpack for the rest of my life now, and before I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. I probably would have picked it up and handed it into the police, whereas now that would definitely be left where it was, and, you know, then one would go and get the police. So yeah, so I'm wondering how this would change my life afterwards, and all of our lives really. I mean, it's going to be hard once we are allowed out again to trust that we can get close to people, and to not be completely terrified every time we hear someone cough. So yeah, it's interesting, but I am trying to find ways of keeping myself occupied in a positive way. I'm trying to keep connected to my friends, because I think that's really important, to be there for each other now more than ever before. And I think a daily check-in each day can be amazingly powerful, and supportive for people that are feeling a bit isolated right now and a bit vulnerable. Like, I really feel for people living alone. I really do. My heart goes out to you, because like, you know, when we get stuck inside our own heads, that can be a difficult place to be, and I think at the moment it's going to be provoking people in all sorts of ways. And those of us who have got you know, anything that we haven't dealt with yet, it's going to come up, and it's going to need addressing, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to do our own shadow work, and to work on our own healing in all of the ways that we can. Sorry, my little dog has just crept over to say hello. She's nuzzling herself up against me right now. She wants some love. She's feeling it too. She's really, really feeling this shift. She has no idea what's going on, obviously, but she knows that her life has changed. She knows that the energy of her parents has changed, and she's a little freaked out. And I'm trying every day to reassure her and to tell her what's going on in the world in a peaceful and neutral way. Because it's important that our animals kind of know that they're going to be okay, because they're feeling it even more deeply than we are. So like, if you're sensitive, can you imagine what your pet's feeling? Or if you've got a child, what your child's feeling if they're too young to really comprehend this. So yeah, just be aware of that. Send love to all those around you who need a bit of a support right now and a bit of a bolster. And yeah, I'll keep checking in and keep sending my love and support, so that we can stay connected to one another. And maybe I'll pick a tarot card every day, or read a poem, or just talk about something that's inspired me. So yeah, hello, nice to meet you, and goodbye. I will speak to you later. Bye. Lots of love.